Welcome to Foundation Focus. I'm Tom Jones, the president of the St. Lucie County Education Foundation, and this program previews the activities of the foundation. And today I'm really pleased to welcome back again Kerry Padrick. Welcome, Kerry.
Hi, Tom.
Hi. Kerry is the Chief Communications Officer for St. Lucie Public Schools. She's a dear friend of the foundation, a great supporter, and each year Kerry and I get together, and we have an opportunity to tell the audience about the teacher grants. The teacher grant program is the single largest funding program for the foundation, and what the foundation does is that we actually raise money privately, and we gather that money up. There's a state matching grant program which supercharges the funds, and then we sit down as a committee, and Kerry is a member of that committee, and then we go through many applications that the school, the district, and the teachers have placed with the foundation to ask for extra funding for programs that they would like to work on for the school year. And this year I'm really proud that the total pool of funds that we were able to gather, both from the private sector and the state matching grant program, is over $60,000 this year, which is really up quite a bit from last year. So it was a real good effort by the foundation board and by the public in helping fund this program. But Kerry, I'd like to start off just by maybe you could tell the audience a little bit about your job at the school district.
Well, first of all, I thank you for having me on the show today, and the Education Foundation is a true friend of St. Lucie Public Schools. You are so in tune with what we are doing, what our mission is, and it's a pleasure to be a part of this. And part of my job is certainly reaching out to the community to try to build a network in order to help reach our students with authentic opportunities for our community to be engaged with what is going on in our classrooms, because working with partners in the community certainly helps us to grow very rich programs. And while we have great programs within our schools, we know that the needs are far greater than what we are able to provide on our own. And so the Education Foundation is a catalyst in helping us to do exactly what we need to do, and that is to grow programs to help meet the needs of our students. So as they go through our K-12 system, we are able to provide experiences that help them to prepare for college and career readiness. Part of my job is internal and external communications, working to express what it is that we as an educational community do, not only for our students, but for our parents and our businesses in preparation for their future workforce.
Well, thank you, Kerry. You have a big job, and you do a great job, because in the year that I have been with the foundation, I've been going out and talking to the private sector, mostly businesses, and I can tell you the recognition of all the excellence that's taking place in public schools is way up, and that's a lot of hard work on your part, a lot of hard work on the school board's part, as well as Mr. Gent and his staff. So it's really starting to pay off. So thank you very much for all of that. I will say this, that the foundation works very closely with the school district, and what we try to do is line up our programming, obviously, with the major goals for the school district. And I thought maybe you could just tell the audience a little bit about what are some of the major goals that the school district has for the new school year.
Well, certainly student achievement is right there at the tip top of what we are all about. We want to make sure that as we have our students, that we're preparing them for, like I said, college and career readiness, and part of that is making sure that our graduation rates continue to rise, and we're very proud of what we've done there. And Superintendent Gent has been sharing some great news with the leaders in our community, and we see that the escalation of our graduation rate is something that we're very proud of. And not only graduation rates, but making sure that our schools are very safe, a very safe place for learning for our students is another priority goal that we have. Making sure that we are growing our talent pool. Quality educators in the classroom are a very important factor in making sure that we have a quality education system. So that too is a factor that we are focusing on. And then we have the 3 C's. We want to make sure that we have a very solid communication system, that we have community engagement and that customer service is at a premium. And so those are some of the areas that we are working on.
Well, that's terrific. It's a big plate. It's a lot of things going on. The matching grant program at the foundation also aligns with the state matching grant program, and at the state level, the state is looking to focus public dollars on programs that help with literacy, that help with STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, as well as arts, and we call it STEAM here at the school district. They also want to help with graduation rates and help struggling students, and they also want to help teachers in terms of funding programs that help with their skill sets. So there's a natural match, and what we have done at the local foundation level, at the St. Lucie County Foundation, is that we have actually begun to focus our programming dollars on the key metrics that you had just spoken about. So this year, we're really focusing on literacy, the intervention programs, the low-performing students, and graduation rates. And as I said earlier, that we're really proud that there's more money this year, but you can see that fully just more than a third of the money is just going into graduation, and a third of the money is just going into literacy, and those are very important metrics. So we also, at the same time, we're balancing the dollars. As you said before, the need is always greater than the funding. So this year we balanced a little bit more towards CTE, career and technical education, and that particular program aligns really well with our new program called STAR Scholars and Workforce Readiness Program. And I had an opportunity to talk to the audience about it in a previous program. But what STAR does, it tries to align the specific CTE program with the specific industry, and then to mentor a junior high school student that is struggling. So the program focuses on at-risk students, and an example would be that we have reached out to car dealerships and to auto repair organizations, companies, and we have Lexus of the Treasure Coast. We have St. Lucie Battery and Tire, which have volunteered to be mentors in the automotive program. And what they will do is meet 4 times a year with these students to help inspire them to graduate. And the hope is also that they would learn a lot about that particular business, and then those businesses would hire these students as they graduate. So what we've done is when we've looked through the applications in the grant program, we've actually focused our dollars on some of those key programs. So we're trying to align better with the major goals of the school district, as well as some of the initiatives that we're doing here at the foundation. And the process started actually quite a few months ago. We actually, even before the school districts, the school year starts, we're sending out emails to all of the school district and to the schools and to the teachers, asking them to start thinking about what programs they have needs for. Many of the programs are what we call regrants. They're programs that people have created. They have a high value, and every year we look at all of them, but there are programs that we feel that are worthy to grant funds again. So I would say probably in the neighborhood about half of the programming dollars are regrants. We focus on those activities that we just talked about, and then the other portion are new requests. And it's always exciting to see that. And then what we do is we gather all those applications up, we look at the total request dollars, and then I go to my foundation leadership, the board, and we take a look at the budget, and we take a look at the matching grant opportunity, and then we make a commitment to the Consortium of Education Foundations, which is our trade group, and they actually manage that program for the state of Florida. And I'm just pleased to say today I got the email that said that we were approved for all of our applications for the grant money. The total actually was $64,000 this year, up from $50,000 last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. The opportunity though really is $120,000 each year, so we have a way to go, but we're making good progress. And then we formed our committee. You were on the committee, and we sat down and we took a look at all of the applications. And I believe in total there were probably over 80 applications. I think last year the number was probably 60 or so. So there's a great recognition within the school district that there is money there, that the foundation is willing to help out. So I was very excited to see many new applications also. So and you were part of this, so you know the process as well as I do. We sat down and we read through all of the applications, and drum roll time. Okay, we now have all of the teacher grant awards that we're going to be doing. So if I can ask you, okay,
Yes.
to read through the grants, and we're going to do them in category.
Okay.
So just read the category off first, and then
Sure.
we're going to. I guess we're going to announce the applicant's name and the school. Okay.
I will be very happy to do that. And I would like to say that you mentioned there was a natural fit with the district initiatives and what you all have as your grant categories. That is so very true. And these grants were so well written. It was a very, very difficult decision among the committee to determine which grants were going to be funded. So as we read through these, I would encourage anyone who wrote a grant and perhaps it wasn't funded this time to please continue to apply for these grants, because so many of them were so worthy. It's just that while you did raise additional dollars, the dollars were not vast enough to cover the 80 grants that were here. And again, just encourage people to continue to apply, because there were so many wonderful grants here, and you did a fantastic job of funding so many of them. I commend you on that.
Well, thank you, Kerry. You know, it's a labor of love at the same time, with the needs being so much. You kind of feel bad you can't fund them all. But I will say this: there is a second round, okay? And the second round is that all of the ed foundations throughout the state of Florida create their programs. And if all those state matching grant funds cannot be used, in fact, we have probably close to $60,000 that's unused, that goes back into another pot of money. And then all of the foundations equally have an opportunity to ask for a second round. I have a long list of second round because we're not done fundraising. Okay, we've been out raising money, and our hope is that we'll have more money for teacher grants in the next coming months. So in January, we're going to reapply for some of these funds, so the news will only get better, okay?
And there's an event coming up that would help with the fundraising? There
is a new event coming up. Actually, right now, we're involved in our Evening for Education fundraiser. That's our 17th annual fundraiser, and that's held on Saturday, November the 5th at the Pelican Yacht Club. That particular program raises what we call unrestricted funding, and that's the money that goes into the teacher grant program. So actually, much of that is used to fund next year's program, but we know there's a second round, and we have a little bit that we carve out for this calendar year.
Okay.
And there are other programs, too, that we'll chat about at the end.
Okay.
So, Kerry, we'll start it off.
So we'll start with staff development, which does impact the entire district. And this comes from the Office of Teaching and Learning. We have a few grants that were granted to the Office of Teaching and Learning to support, first one supports Coaching Our Way to Success, and that is gifted to Kirsty Licklider, Beth Bonvie, and Elizabeth Pruitt. Then we have one going for Elevating and Celebrating Effective Teachers and Teaching for Allison Barajas. The third one from that category is for Professional Growth Through Technology and Video Reflection, again to Allison Barajas. And I would repeat that all of those grants do impact teachers throughout the district. You know,
I was actually privileged last year to attend one of those programs, and it was really an eye-opener. And it was actually on a Saturday. And here I am going, boy, it's Saturday afternoon in the beautiful summer, and the teachers are working so hard. And so it really, you know, there's a lot of things that happen that the public doesn't realize. The teachers are trying to sharpen their saws and be better at what they're doing. And so they're great programs. Thank you.
We have a dedicated team of individuals in St. Lucie, that is for sure. All right, so the next category is with our career and technical education. And from Treasure Coast High School, Lori Appleby has received a grant for Code Blue Industry Certification for resuscitation. From Fort Pierce Central High School, Samantha Jackson for Effective Infection Control. Treasure Coast High School again, the Titans, Lanisha Robinson, Florida Public Safety Service Association. Treasure Coast High School, Margaret Chopa CHAPA, industry certification with an after-school tool. And Port St. Lucie High School, Myrna Belgrave's industry certification, Operation Graduation.
That's terrific. You know, we're actually able this year to fund almost all of the applications from CTE. And one of the things that I noticed with the CTE programs this year is they're really focusing on programs that have metrics and certifications that will help that student graduate and get a job. And that's really a testimony to the district level as well as Mike, who is now running the overall program.
Yes, and industry certification is something that is very, very important, especially with our economic development. So again, we listen to what our community is saying that they need, and we do try to be responsive to that as far as our educational objectives go.
That's great. Thank you.
All right, so now we're moving on to intervention in this category. All right, from St. Lucie West K-8, Heather Voss has received grant funding for current articles and up-to-date reading. Chester A. Moore, Kelly McBee Johnson has received a grant for Engage C.A. Moore. Fairlawn Elementary, Naomi Reels, Enhancing Technology to Develop Comprehension. St. Lucie West Centennial High School, Michael Fahirley, Freshman Reading Challenge. Allapattah Flats, Christine Ford, Middle School Project-Based Instruction. And again from Allapattah Flats, Rebecca Wilson received a grant for Mindset, a challenge in our culture.
Good. You know, this is a focus for the foundation as we're focusing on students to help them continue with their education and ultimately graduate. So that was a shifting of dollars focus. So thank you.
All right. Moving right along, our next category is literacy. In the area of literacy, we have a grant that supports Big Brothers Big Sisters, which is a fantastic partner in education for St. Lucie Public Schools. Mrs. Jenna Stinnett wrote this grant, and this is for a Literacy Jumpstart pilot program in St. Lucie Public Schools. Dr. Mary Huffstetter and Karen Crosby receive a grant for Peace on Earth, Beginning at Birth. Early literacy is very important to St. Lucie Public Schools. At White City Elementary, we have Cheryl Boucher, who is receiving a grant for Retell Me a Story. And at C.A. Moore Elementary, Elise Brannon, Standards-Based Listening Centers for the Engaged Reader.
You know, we all know that reading is so important, and you know, I learned this last year, and it was an eye-opener for me. We know that if a third grader doesn't reach the level of proficiency in reading, that they probably have a 70% chance of struggling dearly throughout the rest of their career. So we also know that age 3 to grade 3 is really the focal point. So many of these programs focus on the very young as well as up to grade 3. The Jumpstart program is really a program that Larry Lee started, and Larry Lee's idea is to focus in on students and work with them consistently from age 3 to grade 3. So this actual program helps fund a full-time mentor with a student throughout the academic year. And I had the privilege of meeting our sponsor last year, and the teacher was telling me that this student, wonderful student, but just struggled with reading, and all he wanted to do was show me his reading skills. He kept pulling a book off the shelf and opening a book, and he was so proud of himself that he knew how to read these books, and the comprehension was there. And that's because of the hard work of that mentor and for the funding that the foundation was able to apply.
And again, Tom, I thank you because it's that collaboration and that tie-in with the priority goals of the district with community engagement and collaboration, and it's just showing we're bringing it to life right here.
It's really working. It really is. It's a real thrill to see that.
Thank you. All right, so we are now moving on to the category of graduation and low performing students, trying to escalate that. We have from Fort Pierce Central High School, Miss Stacy Summer, First Generation, and this is where they support first generation college-bound students. Wonderful program they have there. St. Lucie West Centennial High School, Daisy Diaz, another first generation grant. And it's nice to see when we have the re-grants and other schools are working with schools and we're seeing them share grant ideas.
Correct. Yeah. Stacey Summers actually created the first generation program.
Yeah.
She's very proud of it.
Yeah.
And there are people that have worked with her over the years, and they've gone on to other schools, and they've brought those programs with them. So here is another one. So there's two first generations. Yeah, it's terrific.
All right, so let's move on to Allapattah Flats with Georgia Carey and Christine Bowen. They have a grant that is titled Looking into the Future, Kids at Hope.
You know, this is a program actually that spawned off of First Generation. And what happened was Allapattah Flats saw this program at the high school many years ago and wanted to bring it into into their school.
Yeah.
So
well, it's like with many things. As students in the high school are preparing for college and career, we know that middle school students have to have that mindset. And so many things that they're experiencing in high school, we start preparing them in middle school so that they are ready. St. Lucie West Centennial High School, we have Heather Herbst with Operation Graduation. And Treasure Coast High School, Sarah Corta, See It to Achieve It College Experience. And we have Treasure Coast High School, You Beyond High School 2016-2017.
Great, okay.
So wonderful, wonderful programs there. Well, Tom, I believe we have two more categories of grants to go through.
Very important ones coming up.
All right, so this one is STEM. And STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Starting at Northport K-8 with Andrew McKenzie, we have 3D history, discover, derive, and describe. Morningside Elementary, Molly McCumdov, we have her grant, which is entitled In-School Field Trip. And Treasure Coast High School, Jack Clark, is being funded for manufacturing sea perch. Very interesting, and I think that's part of our CTE program, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Westgate K-8, Evelyn Stover, Odyssey of the Mind Team. Southport Middle School, Kelly Lunt, Science Lab Supplies. And from the Office of Curriculum and Instruction, Mr. Paul Reef, St. Lucie County Science and Engineering Fair. Involves many, many of our students.
That's right. That's a wide-reaching program, and it's a very exciting program. And each year, we have many, many students that move on to the state level as well as the international level.
And we usually have a very, very significant cadre of winners at those events.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Southern Oaks Middle School, Mr. Kevin McInerney with Southern Oaks Middle School Robotics 3. And that is a program that he has continued to build into a very rich and rigorous program over the years, thanks to the support of the Education Foundation. Weatherby Elementary, Caitlin Donovan, student scientist and our superheroes. Forest Grove Middle, Colleen Wilson, superhero science. Francis K. Sweet, Kristen Sue with Wonder League Robotics. So we hear a lot of robotics in there.
Yeah, it's getting very big, and there's actually even more money available. There's a grant that we're writing right now through AT&T, and Ian Cotner, the AT&T regional rep, is on my board, and he's so supportive of these types of programs. So we actually found another pot of money. So the news just gets better and better.
That's just fantastic. All right, our final category, and we just talked about STEM, and when we build the arts into STEM, we end up with STEAM. And so it's funny that now we're going into the category of art and history. So we're going to take STEM into STEAM with this one. From the Office of Teaching and Learning, we have Mrs. Kate Ems, who has a grant being funded, and her grant is 2017 St. Lucie County History Day and History Fair Day. Another impact for the entire district with students participating in these big events. And from Fort Pierce Central High School, we have Mrs. Blackman Gordon, who is being supported with the Empty Bowls Project. Darla Norling from Southern Oaks is being funded for Hawks Arts Program. And from Treasure Coast High School, we have Dr. Perry with the Jazz Master Class at Treasure Coast High School. Windmill Point Elementary, Jay Joy and Joe Davis with Music Heals. And White City Elementary, Sadie Ricks with Music Instruments.
Well, there it is, Kerry. Thank you very much. Okay, so I think it's about maybe 60 grants. I'm not really sure, but it's a large number of grants. Thank you so much for all of your support in and helping going through the applications and voting on the applicants. Well, here's what happens next, okay? Next week, I'm hopping in my car, driving up to Gainesville, and I'll be meeting with the folks from the Consortium of Education Foundations. They will award me a check. I will come back with that check, and that will start the award program. And then what we'll do is we'll be contacting everyone individually. I'd like to offer my congratulations to all of the applicants, and we will be then announcing through the foundation when we'll start actually writing the checks. So all of the names that you've heard, the money is will be in the bank next week, so you can start to work on programming, and we'll start funding those programs very shortly. I would also like to say, for those, and you had mentioned this, for those who did not receive an award this round, number one, there's an opportunity, as I spoke earlier, about a second round. But at the same time, we also, as a foundation, have a number of opportunities to help support organizations raise money. So even if you had received an award and perhaps we didn't do a full funding, there is an opportunity through the coupon for classroom books to sell books and to actually make money for that organization. So, and actually, I just want to announce that Mr. Jen has authorized an extension of the coupons for classroom program through October the 7th.
Wonderful.
So the schools will still have an opportunity to sell the books through October the 7th. And at the same time, if organizations would like to begin to sell the books after that for other purposes, like, for instance, to fund some of these grants, we would welcome that opportunity. So, and also to the general public, you can go on our website at efslc.org, and you can purchase the books online using your debit or credit card, and then you can pick the book up at the office, or if you'd like to, we'll mail the book for free. And there's also an opportunity under the Coupons Classroom program to purchase books from other counties in Florida and even other states. The publisher of the book, Save Around, sells millions of books nationwide, and it's widely recognized in our county as one of the best coupon books in the area, saving the purchaser thousands of dollars in local savings. So it's really a terrific service as well as a fundraiser, and that money goes back into programming for teacher grants. It goes back into programming for scholarships. It goes back into programming for teacher recognition, as well as the STAR Workforce Readiness Program. Mm-hmm. So, Kerry, I want to thank you again for all of the hard work that you've done on this program. I'm really pleased this year that we have a large number of applicants and a large number of individuals to award the program to. So, and my thanks to all of you. Please give me a call, Tom Jones at the foundation, if you would like to talk about a sponsorship or or joining us at our annual dinner, which is on Saturday, November the 5th, for the 17th annual gala. So thank you very much.